Morning people, you've got to feel kind of sorry for Rishi Sunak because he's trying so hard to be a fascist, but the other Tories, they still won't play with him. After the Supreme Court declared that the plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda was illegal, Robert Jenrick, the immigration minister, quit because the law that Rishi Sunak proposed to get around the Supreme Court didn't go far enough. Didn't do whatever it takes to make sure those flights take off. And so in his speech today, Rishi Sunak went full fascist dictator trying to impress the Tories. So let's go through it.
I know that it will upset some people and you will hear a lot of criticism about it.
Great marketing pitch. This bodes really well.
So it's right to explain why I've decided to do this. I'm the child of immigrants.
So we're doing that whole I can't be a xenophobe because my parents came from abroad. You know, that's the same as saying I have black friends, right?
But the difference is, my family came here legally.
Translation, I'm one of the good ones.
Like most immigrants, they integrated into local communities, worked hard to provide for their family.
The UK asylum process takes on average about 1 to 3 years, compared to France and Germany, where it's about 7 months. During that time, the asylum seekers aren't allowed to work here. They're stuck in hotels, so they're not able to integrate into our society. So using that against them when it's the UK system's fault is wild.
And most of all, they were really proud to become British.
You're announcing plans that literally ban asylum seekers from ever becoming British, and you're using that against them. What? Also, you had a US green card for most of your time in office, so as Monica once said,
do you really want to pull at that thread?
That feeling of pride, it cascades down the generations and grows. And that's why you see so many children of immigrants sitting around the cabinet table.
Okay, that's the most far-right thing he said so far. You heard what he said, right? That national pride grows with each generation that you're here. That's a dog whistle saying that white people are more patriotic because of their native ancestry.
Illegal immigration undermines not just our border controls, it undermines the very sense of fairness that is so central to our national character.
Fairness, you say? Well, last year, when the UK policy was for us to take Ukrainian refugees into our homes, the UK policy was also for Yemeni refugees to go back to Yemen while bombs that were made in the UK were still falling in Yemen. So your fair and legal asylum system means sharing homes with white foreigners while bombing the homes of brown ones.
We play by the rules.
You follow the rules? You don't get to be the Prime Minister who partied during lockdown, has his own corruption scandal, and then still claim to be the model immigrant.
We put in our fair share.
This you? Earning £5 million in 3 years but paying just 22% tax? Is that what you call putting in your fair share?
Now, if some people can just cut all of that out.
You do remember when your Home Secretary said that the only way to get to the UK to claim asylum was quote-unquote illegally, right?
I would only enter the UK illegally then, wouldn't I?
Well, that would, if you put in your application for asylum upon arrival, that would be the process that you enter.
But then we get to the meat of it. The Supreme Court's decision was that Rwanda wasn't a safe country to send asylum seekers to under international law.
And so our bill today fundamentally addresses the Supreme Court's concerns over the safety of Rwanda. That is why we have spent the last 3 weeks working tirelessly to respond to their concerns.
Basically to put it in writing that Rwanda can't send refugees back to the country they came from where they'd be in danger.
So this bill gives Parliament the chance to put Rwanda's safety beyond question in the eyes of this country's law.
And there you go. If you pass a law to say that Rwanda is a safe country, you are making a law about reality itself.
Reality can be whatever I want.
Parliament is supposed to pass laws that say, if this happens, do this. If Sarah punches Becky in the throat, send Sarah to jail. It's the courts that are supposed to establish the facts and then apply the laws to them. This is very dangerous territory because one of the most important features of democracy is this thing called the separation of powers. You have the executive, or the government, you have the legislature, the parliament that makes the laws, and then you have the courts that apply the laws. Now, it's bad enough that in the UK, under our current voting system, the party that gets the most seats in parliament then controls the government completely. But for the executive to essentially pass laws that tell the courts, no, Sarah did punch Becky in the throat, that means they're controlling all three. And as we learned in law school, absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's the reason why the separation of powers exists. So Rishi Sunak is out here going full dictator so he can send the most vulnerable people on the planet to a country that our highest court has said is unsafe.
Parliament is sovereign. It should be able to make decisions that cannot be undone in the courts.
No, dickhead. It's called checks and balances. That's why the powers are separate. Part of the court's job is to make sure that the laws that Parliament passes are constitutionally legal, including under international law.
And it was never the intention of international human rights laws to stop a sovereign parliament removing illegal migrants to a country that is considered safe in both parliamentary statute and international law.
You're passing a parliamentary statute to say that it's safe under international law. You do get how circular arguments work, right?
Our domestic courts will no longer be able to use any domestic or international law, including the Human Rights Act, to stop us removing illegal migrants.
Just so we're clear, the bulk of modern international human rights law traces back to the Universal Declaration on Human Rights from 1948. Can you think of any reason why in 1948 the international community decided that maybe we shouldn't let countries make up their own rules when it comes to human rights? So for the Prime Minister to say, fuck international human rights law, the man is a walking alarm bell.
Let me just go through the ways that individual illegal migrants try and stay. Claiming asylum, that's now blocked.
Illegal. The Refugee Convention, which we signed, says that you're allowed to enter any country to claim asylum as long as you do so within a reasonable period of time.
Abuse of our modern slavery rules, blocked.
Sorry, either the person is at serious risk of modern slavery or they're not. If they are at risk of that, then congratulations, Rishi, you're helping with modern slavery. Or they're not and they should have been blocked anyway.
The idea that Rwanda isn't safe, blocked.
Rishi Sunak was just like, Rwanda shot 11 refugees dead in 2018. Didn't happen.
The risk of being sent to some other country, blocked.
Part of the judgment the Supreme Court made was that Rwanda has a habit of doing deals like this, but then still sending refugees back to dangerous countries anyway.
It has also produced evidence of Rwanda's failure to comply with a similar agreement which it entered into with Israel.
And spurious human rights claims, you'd better believe that we've blocked those too because we're completely disapplying all the relevant sections of the Human Rights Act.
The Human Rights Act is the British translation of the European Convention on Human Rights, so see above.
This bill blocks every single reason that has ever been used to prevent flights to Rwanda from taking off. We have set the bar so high that it will be vanishingly rare for anyone to meet it. And once you have been removed, you will be banned for life from travelling to the UK, settling here, or becoming a citizen.
Just so we're clear what's happening here, because Rishi Sunak is scared that he might be losing his government, he's now threatening war victims, genocide victims, human slavery victims, in order to try and stay as Prime Minister. That is the state of morality in the UK government. It's basically evil Olympics. I'm Femi, this has been F Politics, so politics doesn't F you. Have a great week. By the way, I'm going to be a bit quiet over the next few days because I'm working on a huge video about the COVID inquiry because these people, oh my god, they have basically nailed shut their own prison bars. It's insane. So yeah, stay tuned for that.